Boses Pinoy.
Mabuhay, and welcome to Boses Pinoy. I'm Nikki.
And kumusta kayo? I'm Gabe.
And for everyone listening for the first time, Boses Pinoy means Filipino voices.
That's us, sharing stories and experiences.
Anything and everything Filipino.
Yeah. And our tagline is Hanggo sa buhay, tungo sa buhay.
So for this first deep dive, we wanted to tackle something really important to us.
From life to life. We really believe that by sharing our stories and experiences.
We can all learn and grow together.
For sure.
So for this first deep dive, we wanted to tackle something really important to us.
Yeah. Mental health in the Filipino community.
And we know it can be a sensitive topic, but
Open and honest conversations are key.
yeah, to break down the stigma.
To create a more supportive environment for everyone.
And who better to have these conversations with than your own kapatid?
Well, I wouldn't say better, but definitely more entertaining.
Oh, definitely more entertaining.
Yeah.
Like imagine trying to explain anxiety to our Lola.
Oh, she'd probably just say, Anak, did you eat enough rice today?
Oh my gosh, so true. But really, mental health is something that affects all of us.
Regardless of age, gender, or background.
And as Filipinos,
We face some unique challenges.
we do.
You know, growing up, I always felt this pressure to be strong and to, never complain.
Yeah,
It's like those values were just woven into us.
totally. Like it's unspoken.
Yeah, passed down from generation to generation.
Filipinos don't talk about their feelings.
Nope, we keep everything bottled up inside.
And then we wonder why we just explode.
Like a balikbayan box that's been packed too tightly.
Okay, that's a hilarious visual. But seriously, bottling up our emotions can have some pretty serious consequences.
Oh, yeah, for our mental health.
So we wanted to dedicate this first episode to exploring the mental health spectrum.
Specifically for Filipinos and within the context of Filipino culture.
So let's start with the basics.
Okay.
What do we mean by mental health spectrum?
Think of it like a range of experiences that we all move through
Okay.
at different points in our lives. On one end, you have optimal mental well-being.
Feeling happy, resilient,
Yeah, and connected to others.
and on the other.
More serious mental health conditions that require professional support.
And it's important to remember that everyone's experience is unique.
Absolutely. Just like our taste in lumpia.
What do you mean?
Some people like it sweet, some like it savory,
Yeah.
and some just haven't experienced the joy of a perfectly crispy lumpia.
Okay, now you're making me hungry. But back to the mental health spectrum. It's not about labeling people or putting them in boxes.
Right.
It's about recognizing that mental health is a journey and we all need support at different times.
For sure. And that's where those beautiful Filipino values come in. Values like kapwa, bayanihan, and pamilya, they're like our built-in support system.
Yeah, it's like that feeling of knowing you can always count on your titas and titos no matter what.
And let's not forget the power of tita advice.
Oh, they always seem to have the perfect solution.
Always.
Even if it involves a hefty dose of Vicks Vapor Rub and a prayer.
Oh, for sure.
But while these values are incredibly important, they can also create some unique challenges when it comes to mental health.
Yeah, like that sense of hiya or shame can make it really hard to open up about our struggles.
Even to our closest family members.
Yeah.
And then there's pakikisama, that desire to keep the peace and avoid conflict.
Yeah, who wants to be the one to bring down the mood at the family reunion, right?
So true.
And let's not forget about utang na loob, that feeling of indebtedness. It's a lot sometimes.
Especially when it comes to asking for help.
Right.
It's like you always feel like you owe someone something, even if it's just a plate of pancit.
So true. And navigating all of this within the context of a new culture can be incredibly complex.
It's like trying to make sense of those Americanized versions of Filipino food.
Like what?
You're like, wait, where's the patis? And
What?
why is there cheese on this adoda?
Exactly. It's a constant balancing act between honoring our heritage and adapting to a new way of life.
And that balancing act can definitely take a toll on our mental well-being. So how do we navigate these complexities?
How do we honor our culture while also prioritizing our mental health?
Well, that's where things get really interesting. Filipino identity and mental health.
You know, we were just talking about how kapwa and pakikisama can sometimes make it hard to put ourselves first.
Yeah, it's like we're always putting everyone else's needs before our own.
Exactly. But taking care of ourselves isn't selfish.
Right.
It's actually essential if we want to be there for others.
You can't pour from an empty cup.
Precisely. Speaking of cups, remember our titas and their herbal teas?
Oh, yeah.
Turns out they were onto something.
Oh, absolutely. those steaming mugs of salabat.
It was more than just a drink.
It was a ritual.
A moment of pause.
Yeah, a way to connect and recharge.
Filipino-style self-care.
I love that.
Yeah.
So how do we incorporate more of that tea to wisdom into our modern lives?
How do we make self-care a priority when we're juggling work, family, and everything else?
Yeah, that's a lot.
Well, it starts with our mindset.
Okay.
We need to stop thinking of self-care as a luxury and start seeing it as a necessity.
Like rice with every meal.
Exactly.
Okay, I can get behind that. But what if we're already feeling burnt out?
Where do we even begin?
Yeah, where do you start?
Start small.
Oh,
Instead
wow.
of trying to change your entire life.
Right.
Focus on little acts of kindness.
In your daily routine?
Yeah.
Like what? Give me some examples.
Okay, well, you could start your day with 5 minutes of meditation.
Oh,
Yeah, there are even apps with guided meditations in Tagalog.
wow. I had no idea.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Or how about taking a walk during your lunch break?
Okay.
Even if it's just around the block,
Mhm.
a little fresh air and sunshine can really help your mood.
Yeah, I can definitely do that.
Sometimes I get so glued to my computer that I
Mhm.
forget to even look outside.
It's so easy to do.
And don't underestimate a hot cup of tea and a good book before bed.
Ooh, that sounds nice.
A simple way to unwind after a long day.
I like it.
Those all sound great.
They do. But what about setting boundaries? That can be a real struggle,
I hear you.
especially for Filipinos.
It's like that feeling of guilt hits you as soon as you say no.
It's instant.
But setting boundaries is so important
It is.
for protecting our energy and well-being.
So how do we get better at it?
Think of it as building a little baycod around your personal space.
A fence.
Yeah.
Okay, I like that.
So it's okay to say no to that extra project at work
Right.
or that family gathering that you just know is going to drain you or those favors that you just don't have the energy for.
Yeah, it's okay to say no.
It's about recognizing our limits
Mm-hmm.
and communicating them with kindness.
And respect.
And remember, practicing kapwa also means taking care of ourselves so we can better care for others.
Yeah, that's a good point.
And sometimes self-care also means reaching out for professional help,
Absolutely. There's no shame in talking to a therapist or counselor.
especially if you're struggling.
There are so many resources available, like the Friends organization.
An Alberta Health Services Access mental health program.
We'll put a list of those in the show notes.
Now let's talk about those cultural values that can sometimes make it tricky to address mental health.
Like,
Hiya pakikisama utang na loob.
they're such beautiful values.
They are.
But they can also create some inner conflict
It's like we're constantly trying to find that balance.
between honoring our heritage and taking care of our well-being.
Exactly. So how do we navigate that? Well, let's start with Hiya.
Yeah.
That sense of shame can be a major roadblock.
When it comes to admitting we're struggling, let alone asking for help,
Yeah, it's like we're afraid of bringing shame to our families.
or being judged by our community.
So we need to normalize conversations about mental health
Where?
within our families or our community.
Yeah, bring it out into the open.
Create a safe space where people can talk about their experiences without fear of judgment.
I love that. And when it comes to pakikisama, it's important to remember that it doesn't mean we have to suppress our emotions
Right.
or avoid all conflict.
We can still keep things harmonious while also expressing our needs and setting boundaries.
Healthy communication is key.
And as for utang na loob, remember that true gratitude isn't about sacrificing your well-being to repay a debt.
It's about finding a balance.
Between honoring obligations and taking care of yourself,
It's about finding that sweet spot.
where you can reciprocate kindness without losing yourself in the process.
I like that.
You know, thinking about all of this reminds me of a beautiful banig.
A woven mat.
Yeah.
Okay, I can see where you're going with this.
Each strand represents a member of our community.
Okay.
When those strands are woven tightly together, the banig is strong and resilient.
It can withstand anything.
But if those strands become loose or disconnected, the banig weakens and becomes vulnerable.
So our individual well-being is interconnected with the well-being of our community.
Exactly.
When we take care of ourselves, we support each other, and we build a strong network of support.
We create a more resilient and vibrant Filipino community.
That's such a powerful image.
It really highlights the importance of bayanihan.
That spirit of unity and cooperation.
That's so central to Filipino culture,
And that brings us to the final part of our deep dive.
where we'll be exploring practical ways to support each other and build a stronger, healthier Filipino community.
Stay tuned, mga kababayan. Welcome back to Boses Pinoy.
We're in the final part of our deep dive.
into Filipino identity and mental health,
Yeah, we've talked about the spectrum,
the values that shape our understanding of well-being.
the importance of self-care and setting boundaries.
But now let's get practical.
What can we actually do to support each other?
Well, remember that peer support training?
From the Friends organization.
Yes, with the 3 R's.
Recognize, respond, and refer.
It's such a simple but powerful framework.
Yeah, so let's break it down.
Okay.
First up, recognize.
How can we better recognize signs of struggle in ourselves and in others?
It's about paying attention to those subtle shifts in behavior.
Like what?
Maybe someone's withdrawing from social activities, having
Hmm.
trouble sleeping.
Or just not acting like themselves.
And sometimes it's not even about what they're saying.
Is it how they're saying it?
Yeah, their tone of voice.
Body language?
Facial expressions can all provide valuable clues.
That's like being a detective.
Looking for those subtle signs that something's off.
We need to check in with ourselves too.
For sure, how are we feeling? What are our needs?
Are we pushing ourselves too hard
Sometimes we get so caught up taking care of everyone else.
that we forget to take care of ourselves?
True.
Okay, so we've recognized that someone might be struggling,
Okay,
either ourselves or someone we care about.
what's next?
What then?
That's where respond comes in.
Okay.
And this is where Filipino hospitality really shines.
Yeah, we're natural caregivers.
Always ready with a warm meal
A shoulder to cry on.
and a listening ear.
It's in our DNA.
But sometimes we need to go beyond the comfort food and kind words.
Okay, when?
That's where refer comes in.
Okay.
Sometimes the best way to support someone is to encourage them to seek professional help,
And this can be a tough conversation to have.
especially in a culture where mental health is often stigmatized.
It can be hard to even talk about it.
But remember, seeking professional help is a sign of strength
It's about taking control of your well-being.
and getting the support you deserve.
And there are so many resources available.
The Friends organization,
Alberta Health Services Access Mental Health Program.
the Canadian Mental Health Association.
There's a whole network of support out there.
For sure.
We'll include a list of those resources in our show notes.
Okay, sounds good.
As we wrap up this deep dive, I keep thinking about that image of the banig,
The woven mat.
each strand representing a member of our community.
Contributing to the strength of the whole.
When we support each other, when we weave our stories and experiences together.
We create something truly beautiful and unbreakable.
So as you navigate your own journey of Filipino identity and mental health, remember that you're not alone.
We're all in this together.
We are mga kababayan.
We have each other.
Our values
And the power to create a brighter future for ourselves, our families, and generations to come.
Boses Pinoy. Between two worlds, we're finding some way. Stories untold, now it's time to say what's in our hearts, what's on our minds. Boses Pinoy, hear our desire. We hear the voices breaking up before silence. Only the voices who pagkatiyotin. Shut up and just breathe to guide. So let the cook up by far be to us, we're united. Boses Pinoy, part of legacy, excellent legacy. I sound till this way, like me. Not a notice Pinoy, my entirety the same. Cause the twig is its own man. Cause the twig is its own. Last souls in our world's alive. Now I'm not even notice Pinoy, my entirety the same. Some voices Pinoy, this is inside. Some voices Pinoy, this is inside. The voices rise.